everybody, it's Chris Easy, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. I wanted to start off this week by talking about a couple games that were announced at the recent DC Fandom. I know people I read people complaining about how there wasn't a lot of comic book stuff, but this is in replacement for the Comic-Con that we can't have because of the pandemic, so Comic-Con isn't really about comics anymore either. It's all about the movies and the video games and the TV shows. So, even though comics are the source material for the movies and television and video games, but that's a rant for another time. They announced a new Batman game, and I was like, ooh, how exciting. It's called Gotham Knights, and basically Batman is dead, so you play as Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Red Hood to save Gotham since Batman's gone. And I was immediately excited about this, but then that excitement lessened when I learned that it's a co-op multiplayer game. Granted, it's co-op, which is nice. I prefer co-op if I have to, but they say there will be a single-player experience, but I don't know if it's a single-player experience that they're also doing multiplayer, or if it's a multiplayer experience and they're just going to like shoehorn single-player in. I don't know. That just makes me a little nervous. Also, I was surprised to find out that it was not developed by Rocksteady, but that they are doing another game set in the Arkham universe that they established, except this isn't a Batman game. It's the Suicide Squad, which, unfortunately, while I would look forward to a new Rocksteady Batman game, or a Rocksteady DC superhero game, this doesn't float my boat, because it's Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and you're basically playing a group of villains fighting corrupted superheroes. Sorry, anti-heroes, not villains, except that they're villains, and I can't get over that, and I'm sorry. That's just me. So, as a concept, that doesn't appeal to me. Then, it's also another multiplayer game, where you and 3 friends can play a team of 4 to fight your way through the game and battle the Justice League heroes, who've been possessed or whatever. But the thing is that there's also going to be a single player, but that's going to be you and 3 AI-controlled partners, and you can swap between any of the 4, so it's sort of like a role-playing game, where you can swap between characters in your party, but I don't trust the AI in these kinds of games. It's never really that helpful. It is getting better with the technology advancing, but it's still like, I would prefer a single-player game. So, I'm really not into Suicide Squad. I will be keeping an eye on Gotham Knights, just because there's the possibility that the single-player could be good. Unless, of course, they decide that the single-player experience is still co-op multiplayer, but with AI-controlled partner. In which case, I'm probably not going to be interested in it. Sorry. I like single-player games. I like to just play my game as a person, single person. You also might have noticed my snazzy Tom Nook Animal Crossing shirt, which that was an experience. Unfortunately, this is not available online. It's only available at the Nintendo New York store. I was very excited for Animal Crossing New Horizons to come out because it would mean new merchandise. New t-shirts, new toys, new plushes, new whatever. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened and everything shut down. So there was no popping up to the Nintendo store during lunch at work and seeing what was new. It just didn't happen. And recently the Nintendo store reopened, and they tweeted out a picture of this shirt and said, hey, come and get your Tom Nook Island Escape your dress shirt, button-up shirt, whatever you call it. And I was like, I want that. And I happen to have a day that I had taken off work this past week, just a random day off work, just so I can sit around the house and play games and watch movies instead of having to sit around the house and do my work. So it's not really that much different, except you don't have to work. So I made an appointment, and it's really weird that doing something so normal, something that normally would have just been like during my lunch or after work, walking up to 48th Street and going and popping my head in just to see what's what, and then leaving and maybe buying some stuff if there was something new, and then grabbing the train home. That's not how it works anymore. Everything is anxiety-ridden. I had to go on the train. I didn't want to touch anything. There's people not wearing masks on the train. And then I go there, and thankfully Nintendo is really good. They're limiting the number of people in the store by making you make an appointment. There was a family that got in line behind me thinking it was just get in line and go to the store. And they were told, no, you have to have a reservation, but if you want to step to the back of the line, after the people with reservations, if they leave and there's room, we'll let you in. And in fact, they did, because on my way out of the store, I saw them shopping downstairs, so I was like, okay, good, they got in. But they limit the number of people in the store, they keep everything clean, there's signs there like, don't touch things that you're not planning on buying. There's big shields at the register, and it's all very, hand sanitizer everywhere. So I felt very safe doing that, much more so than I did on the train. And unfortunately, because it's not just a case of popping up at work and buying a couple of t-shirts and then maybe the next week popping up and buying another couple of things or something, even though that's not always the best way to do it, because at the Nintendo store, if you see something, you need to buy it, because there have been times where I've seen something, I said, oh, that's nice, but not right now. And then I'll go back like a week or two later and it's gone. And I'm like, rude. And then they don't come back in stock all the time, so get it while you can. So basically, since this was going to be like my one trip, I bought a crap ton of stuff. I bought this shirt, obviously. I bought this hat, which is, and then I bought a bunch more t-shirts that you're going to see in future episodes, obviously. And of course, I bought a puzzle, another jigsaw puzzle. I didn't buy everything. There was a bunch of merch. There was a whole little Animal Crossing section. I did not buy everything. I did spend like $160, but I didn't buy everything. That would have been even more. There were a couple of sweatshirts that I'm like, I can't even think about getting a sweatshirt right now because it's 100 degrees out. And then of course there's, there was a t-shirt that was a women's t-shirt, so I'm like, no, that's fine. And then there was another one where I was just like, meh. Like, this design doesn't do anything for me, so I'm going to let that one go, because I'm already buying a half dozen other t-shirts. There were also, like, socks, and, like, some pins, and, like, a keychain, but I was just like, I don't need any of that, that's fine. So I was able to have some willpower, and not buy everything Animal Crossing that they had that was new. But it was nice to finally be able to go and get my Animal Crossing merch. They also had the Lego sets, the Mario Lego sets. Unfortunately, my friend Cam asked me if I was going to get that to go with my Nintendo NES, but it turns out that, because the little Mario figure is interactive, it interacts with the TV. But the problem is that the only way to get the Mario figure is in the starter kit, which is like $60. And I'm like, no. If there was a way to just get the figure, or just get the figure in like a smaller kit that was like $20, then sure. But they're making you buy this $60 kit, and I'm just like, no, I'm good, thank you. Also because all you do is put it on top of the TV, and then it just bleeps and bloops and whatever, and that's not really worth $60, $70 for me. Thank you, though. But as for the Nintendo NES, I was able to finish the console and the, oops, I unplugged the, there we go, and the controller. it took me, I think, 4 days. I could have done it in 3, but I was like, let me slow down and I'll do the controller on day 4. Because the building is the most fun part, so I want to spread it out. And the controller is apparently, they say this is actual size. I measured this, and this console is slightly less, it's like an inch smaller than the real thing. So it's just slightly shrunk down, but it's still very solid, and it's got, you know, the buttons and all the ports and everything are all, they're all there. And, you know, it opens up, and you can take your cartridge out, and there's your Mario Brothers cartridge, and it's super cute. Goes in just like the real thing. It's really great. Oh, and I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Rob, who pointed out, as I was complaining online, as I was tweeting pictures of my progress, I didn't understand why there was, like, there's all kinds of mechanisms inside for the, you know, the cartridge thing, with levers and things. But there was a bunch of weird colored pieces going along this side, and I didn't understand what that was. Was it circuitry? What was it? I don't get this. And then you cover it up. So I was like, what was the point of that? And he pointed out, because this comes off super easily, so that you can see it. And yeah, it's a Mario level miniaturized. And I was like, he's like, don't you see the Mario level? And I was like, I do now. So I felt mighty stupid for not noticing that. But I was so in the little pieces that it wasn't coming together as a whole for me. But I actually, after I finished the controller, I decided that I would take a little break, and I would start the TV next week. Because, like I said, I want to prolong the experience of building it, because that's the fun part. So, come back next episode, and I'll share my progress on the TV. I may have finished it, I don't know. It might take me more than a week, depending on how I spread it out, because it's like twice as many bags and pieces as the console and controller and cartridge, so we'll have more of that. I'll show you my progress next episode, and I'll talk about more games and such, and I'll see you then. Bye!